Short story Kino by Haruki Murakami, a tale of emotional wounds and mysterious happenings that unfolds in a small bar in Tokyo, where the ordinary and extraordinary intertwine in unexpected ways, leading its protagonist through a journey of self-discovery and confrontation with his deepest pain. This video was powered by the AI Pandora.io. In the quiet bar called Kino, there's a peculiar customer who always chooses the same uncomfortable seat at the far end of the counter. This tall man with a bluish-shaved head, thin build but broad shoulders, and a keen glint in his eye, arrives wearing a gray raincoat regardless of the weather. The bar owner, also named Kino, initially mistakes him for Yakuza, but soon grows accustomed to his presence. The mysterious customer follows the same routine during each visit, orders a beer, reads from a thick hardbound book, then orders white label whiskey with equal parts water and a few ice cubes. We learn that Kino once worked for a sports equipment company, selling carefully handcrafted running shoes to athletes. Despite being taciturn and unsociable, coaches trusted him and athletes liked him. His life seemed stable and satisfying, until one day, returning home unexpectedly early from a business trip, he discovered his wife having an affair with his best friend from work. Without confrontation, Kino simply left, never to return to that apartment. The next day, he quit his job. This pivotal moment redirects his life's path. Kino's unmarried aunt had previously offered him her coffee shop in Aoyama, which she was closing due to back problems. After discovering his wife's affair, Kino contacts his aunt and asks to rent the space to open a bar. She agrees, charging him a surprisingly low monthly rent. Using half his savings, Kino transforms the coffee shop into a bar. He furnishes it simply, installs a long, sturdy counter, and brings his collection of jazz records and stereo equipment. Having worked as a bartender during college, he knows how to mix drinks well. He names the bar after himself, Kino. For the first week, no customers arrive. But Kino isn't concerned. He hasn't advertised and simply waits for curious people to discover his backstreet establishment. He enjoys the solitude, listening to Art Tatum's piano pieces and reading books. Surprisingly, Kino feels no anger or bitterness toward his wife or former colleague. He views the betrayal as somehow inevitable, reflecting that in his life, he had achieved nothing and made no one happy, not even himself. His little bar becomes a place to tether his heart, to keep it from wandering aimlessly. The first visitor to discover how comfortable Kino's bar is turns out to be a stray gray cat with a long tail. The cat begins sleeping in a display case in the corner. Kino provides food and water and constructs a pet door, though the cat prefers using the front door when people come and go. The cat seems to bring good luck. As human customers soon follow, some become regulars, attracted by the vintage records, the limited daily menu, the quiet ambiance, and the sleeping cat. Though far from thriving, the bar earns enough to cover the rent, which satisfies Kino. About 2 months after opening, the mysterious man with the shaved head begins frequenting the bar. 2 months later, during an incident with troublesome customers, Kino learns his name, Kamita, written with the characters for God and Field, pronounced not as Kanda, but as Kamita. The incident occurs when 2 men in dark suits who brought their own bottle of wine begin arguing loudly. When Kino politely asks them to keep their voices down, they confront him aggressively. Kamita intervenes, claiming responsibility for the request to quiet down. The men challenge him, suggesting they step outside to settle things. Kamita agrees calmly, asking them to pay their bill first to avoid causing trouble for the bar. After the three leave, Kino waits anxiously. Hearing nothing from outside, Kamita's book remains open on the counter, like a well-trained dog waiting for its master. Kamita returns from handling the mysterious men who had threatened Kino. Those two won't be showing their faces here again, he assures Kino, refusing to explain what happened. Later, alone in the bar, Kino recalls a street fight he once witnessed, how a professional fighter dispatches opponents with brutal efficiency. He wonders if Kamita had done something similar. About a week later, Kino becomes intimately involved with a female customer who arrives alone one rainy night. She's been to the bar before, always accompanied by a goated man. She enjoys listening to jazz records that remind her of her father. After closing time, the woman reveals something disturbing. Cigarette burn scars across her back. I have them in other places too, she says without emotion. Despite his better judgment, Kino spends the night with her in an intense, almost animalistic encounter. The woman returns to the bar later, always with the goated man, acting as though nothing happened between her and Kino. Yet he senses something viscous connecting the couple, a deep secret they share, and feels the woman might return alone someday. Summer ends, and Kino finalizes his divorce, meeting his ex-wife at the bar to sign papers. She apologizes for hurting him. There was something wrong between us from the start, as if we'd done the buttons up wrong, she explains. She encourages him to find someone new, someone right for him. As fall arrives, Kino notices two significant changes. The female cat that had been visiting his bar disappears, and snakes begin appearing in the yard. First a brown one, then a bluish one that seems to stare at him, and finally a small blackish one that strikes him as potentially dangerous. Concerned by this unusual occurrence, Kino calls his aunt who owns the building. She's surprised, having never seen snakes there during her years living in the house. Snakes are smart creatures, she tells him. In ancient legends, they often help guide people. The disappearance of the cat, his good luck charm, and the appearance of these mysterious snakes leaves Kino with an unsettling feeling, as if something significant is about to change in his carefully constructed world. Kino learns from his aunt that in legends, the smartest snakes hide their hearts outside their bodies for protection. This knowledge becomes particularly relevant as Kino notices 3 snakes surrounding his home in just 1 week, an unusual occurrence that leaves him feeling uneasy. The once comfortable bar now feels empty. The mysterious gray cat and the woman with burn scars have both stopped visiting. One night, the regular customer Kamita arrives and delivers a warning. Kino must close the bar temporarily and leave town. There are times in this world when it's not enough just not to do the wrong thing, Kamita explains cryptically. He suggests that Kino has failed to do something important, creating a void that has allowed something dangerous to enter. Following Kamita's advice, Kino packs a bag and posts a closure notice on his bar. He begins traveling, first to Takamatsu, then throughout Shikoku and Kyushu, staying in modest business hotels. As instructed, he sends postcards to his aunt twice weekly. Though he's forbidden from writing messages, during his travels, Kino feels increasingly disconnected from reality, describing himself as becoming half-transparent. In a moment of impulse, Kino breaks Kamita's rule and writes a personal message on a postcard. That night, in his hotel room in Kumamoto, Kino awakens to a persistent knocking at his door. He instinctively knows this visitor represents something he both fears and desires. The knocking continues, moving to his window, impossible, as he's on the 8th floor. In this moment of terror, Kino has a profound realization. He's been avoiding confronting his pain about his wife's infidelity, creating an emotional emptiness that's now filled with something ominous. Hiding under his covers, Kino tries to focus on comforting memories. The willow tree outside his bar, the great cat, Kamita reading at the counter, and even his wife in her blue dress. As the knocking continues with its relentless rhythm, Kino finally acknowledges his buried feelings. Yes, I am hurt. Very, very deeply. This confession brings tears, suggesting a breakthrough of emotional honesty. The rain continues to fall, perhaps symbolizing a cleansing of Kino's spirit as he finally confronts his suppressed emotions. Kino's journey through pain and avoidance reaches its turning point in this moment of vulnerability. The mysterious elements of the story, the cat, the snakes, and the enigmatic Kamita, all serve as guides pushing him toward this necessary confrontation with his own heart. In acknowledging his deep wound, Kino takes his first step toward genuine healing, no longer running from his past, but facing it with tearful honesty. The emptiness that had invited darkness now fills with something authentic, his own truth. This video was powered by the AI Pandora.io.